Make no mistake about it, Game 4 between the Heat and the Celtics was downright ugly. Just in the first half, we had both teams combined to shoot 41%, Jason Tatum couldn't find the rim if it hit him in the face, and Jay Crowder was building a brick outhouse, while the Celtics still couldn't figure out how to attack the Heat's zone properly. But there was something to cheer about. An incredibly young player who's been having his coming out party during these playoffs. A rookie making his mark in the history books by displaying incredible skill, but also being the go-to guy his team had to rely on down the stretch of the most important game of their season. And if ever there was a name perfect for the moment, it was this game and this moment, as we can all call him a hero. It's not like Tyler Herro hasn't been doing this the whole postseason. A rookie getting his first taste of the national stage, increasing his minutes and scoring in the playoffs is notable. But what he did last night saved the Heat from defeat. By pouring in 37 points and getting 3 assists, he single-handedly contributed to 38% of the team's points, including 17 in the fourth quarter alone. His ability to score from all over the floor makes him so hard to guard, and what looks like a simple floater off the glass isn't so easy over a defender, drifting, requiring just the right angle off the board to go in. He's extremely adaptable to changing situations, like Dragic unexpectedly falling down in the middle of setting the double ball screen. He spins and uses the gallop to hesitate before getting a step and snatching the gather with the right foot down, shortening the left step to let Kemba fly by, before bounding onto the right foot and quick releasing the teardrop before Williams can block it. Please recognize how hard this shot really is. Deep in the fourth, with Miami struggling to score, he hits Jason Tatum with the lefty inside out, and check how he goes off the right foot, and he shoots the right-handed reverse as Tatum flies by completely fooled. He also has a fully realized mid-range game as well. On this handoff, he is able to turn the corner and check the skip dribble to size up the big man, then the quick load in the left foot between the defender's feet, getting just enough space to elevate over the contest for the 10-footer. With Tatum moving into denial position out high, often we'll see a backdoor cut off this centering pass, but it can also flow into a handoff. Notice the inside hand dribble to ensure the defender can't sneak in between or back tap the dribble, and the quick hop gets him the 15-footer. Though he's only a rookie, he plays like a veteran, settling down the offense while calmly calling for the ball screen out top. This fumble at the free throw line seemed to send the whole defense spinning, and Herro has the presence of mind to get this shot up before Smart can react in time. On this step-up screen, Tice drops back to contain, aware of his ability to get to the rim, so Herro hits him with a 1950s-style one-legged jump shot off the glass, no less. Herro is listed at 6'5", but he's so young he could still be growing, as he gets Kemba on his side and then easily elevates over him for another mid-range jumper. It's weird to me that Tyler is only shooting 34% from beyond the arc in this series, since it feels like he's hitting every 3-ball he gets. The best threes are off of offensive rebounds. Great contest in the air by Tatum forces Herro to reload, but Tatum needs to be able to jump back into play quicker, and that's all the space Herro needs to nail this one. Watch how the through-the-legs pound dribble forces Brown to react, hanging him up on the Bam Adebayo screen, and with Williams dropped way too far, it's a clear look from the top of the arc that increases the Heat's lead to 5. The use of the handoff is extremely prevalent in the Heat's offense, primarily because Bam is such a good passer and adept at ball handling, and it was the third handoff that was the charm, as Herro comes off the pin down first, handoff second, and open for the 3, great concentration as Wanamaker flew by him. And yet another handoff gets him a sliver of daylight, and his size allows him to negate the Walker contest as he drops his 4th triple of the night. Let's move over to the other side because in the first half at least, Jason Tatum was the exact opposite of Tyler Herro, missing all 6 of his shots and turning it over 3 times. And he just looked disconnected from the game and a little out of it. How else to explain this drive, where he gets inside of Crowder by throwing the ball in front, but almost tripping himself when his trail leg collides with his jumping leg, On top of that, he doesn't try to bank this, the easiest way to make it, and the Heat are on their way back down the court in a hurry. It wasn't a fluke either. At the end of the first quarter, he finds an opening in the zone and shoots a similar shot, this time almost airballing it from 8 feet. But Williams takes advantage to get a bucket out of it. Against man-to-man to finish the quarter, he winds down the clock and gets a slip screen from Wanamaker. This behind-the-back dribble to the second defender was the wrong choice. He'd have been better attacking Herro to the left, and as a result, has to burp up this tightly contested sidestepping three. Here, he picks up the dribble too early to pass. He had an opening for a shot, but gets it back with lots of time on the clock against the man-to-man defense of Herro. With Tice on the block, I can understand why he wouldn't drive that way, but without getting Herro moving, this is an easy contest for him and very short shot that he ends up kicking out of bounds. But his fortunes completely turned around in the second half, where he lit it up for 28 points on 10 of 16 shooting. And it started on a play that seems to always happen. Miss a layup on one end, give up a three on the other. With Bam not sprinting fast enough to cover, the Heat give him a good look in transition and it got him going big time. And the next time down, they finally attack the zone properly by setting the inside ball screen on the wing. This sucks in the weak side guard, forces the forward to move towards the corner, and opens up a good look for Tatum from the right wing. And he's back, folks. Obviously, the Heat 2-3 zone is a huge story of the series, and if you look how the Celtics fared overall against it, it's hard to believe they can't properly figure out how to attack it consistently. This efficiency is terrible, and will be the root cause why they get beat by the Heat. They continue to try and set an inside ball screen from the guard position. I've already detailed why this is simply wrong and won't yield them good shots. Crowder can stay at home and then jump to the wing on the pass. Next, they also constantly hit the high post, but then never turn to even look at the basket, allowing the defense to snap back into place on the quick kickout. And third, the gap you want to attack is in between the forward and the guard here. Wanamaker tries to go baseline instead, right into the defender for the easy charge call. Finally, they set the inside ball screen on the wing, which stretches the defense out better. Now, Wanamaker can attack the proper seam between the guard and forward, and it gets them the little runner. Jaylen Brown seemed to be getting it, as he again attacks the specific seam between the guard and the forward. He can kick for an outside shot or finish up and over Bam. Here was something interesting they ran, and I don't think it was intentional because we didn't see it the rest of the game. Smart sets a pin down which encourages Robinson to get on the high side, but then he slips to the high post. The problem is, Tatum needed to be in the corner already. He's still cutting on the catch and can't shoot the open shot, and then bowls over Bam for a bad turnover. For much of this game, they just didn't demonstrate an understanding of how to properly attack the zone, despite this being the fourth game against it. This inside ball screen is not set in the right position, it should be on the wing, and then they go back to an old standby, the outside ball screen on the guard with the strong side corner filled. I'm sure the Heat are ecstatic with this shot. In fairness, they run it again, and this time, Tatum lures Dragic to him a couple of steps, opening up a corner three, but Brown couldn't get on track. But something started to click a little bit more consistently. Here is the inside ball screen I've been calling for from the wing, opening up deep penetration while also sucking in both guards to the paint. That's how Tatum gets this good look from deep. And despite setting this ball screen in the wrong place, they do get smart along the baseline receiving the pass and then attacking that seam between the guard and the forward. It's almost a guarantee of a good shot as Hayward knocks it down. This was exciting as they set a flare screen on the guard for Hayward with Tatum pinning down the forward. When Williams dives from the elbow, Bam must honor that, giving Tatum the wide open 15-footer. However, we never saw this action again. And the end of this game had a lot to learn for any player at any level. Under 2 minutes left, 4-point lead for Miami, and the Celtics do a very risky move to double Butler here. With Bam, the Heat have an excellent ball handler and decision maker. Plus, Iguodala is also a good passer, and this type of awesome ball movement cannot be stopped as Dragic nails a dagger. I kept harping on where to split the zone off the dribble, and doing it between the guards isn't a bad idea, but watch how Bam expertly lures Smart into passing the ball with a stunt, only to steal it with his long arms. Perfect. More strange days with Tatum. He switches off of Butler without there even being a screen, and now Kemba has to deal with the bigger Jimmy. Keep your eye on Herro as he cuts through. But also notice what Tatum does here. He doesn't double like you'd expect, instead positioning himself as if he were already guarding Dragic. Smart has no idea what's going on as Herro cuts behind him, gets the nice pass, and finishes on the one before the defense can rotate over to stop him. All from Tatum screwing up his assignment originally. The Heat go to man-to-man, and this might have been a mistake as Kemba gets by Butler but blows the shot. However, his penetration gets him the offensive rebound, and this time Jason Tatum just lets it fly over the great contest by Herro. No matter, it drops through the rim for three. Here's another strange move by Tatum. They've got it perfectly set up to trap Herro with their two best defenders in the corner with Herro's back turned, but Tatum runs away. Herro gets it up the court, setting up a possession where the Heat run some precious seconds off the clock until Butler foolishly tries to catch this pass with one hand. I mean, what are you doing, man? But to make it interesting, the call on Butler on the drive gets challenged, and rightfully so. But the result of this became so confusing, I needed to bring in Ronnie Nunn, 19-year NBA referee, to try and explain what happened. Well, Ronnie, thank you so much for coming on here to break this down for us, because we need an explanation. Obviously, what ended up happening was a jump ball out of a big coach's challenge, and it's a little confusing to me. I'm not even sure anyone else realized what was going on. So what do you see here, and what do you think maybe could have happened instead?
You know, this was a little bit of a confusing play. I'm all for the challenge. I think the challenge is great. I think the issue really is that in the sequence of events, one of the instant replay items that an official can go to is the whole sequence of the play. The first thing that happens on the play is actually an offensive foul by Tatum. He pushes off. Well, the official gets down court, but he's really blocked, so he's taking a guess that the strip may be at the wrist and above. So he calls a foul. But the second sequence of events is the foul he calls, and the third sequence of events is the ball goes out of bounds because of the clean strip goes out of bounds and should be Miami's ball. So when you're looking at the strip, you got to consider that that foul is part of it, the strip foul. Now, let's say he calls the foul earlier than that. And he says, no, it wasn't until Butler got to the strip. It was before that when he was hacking at him. And I thought that was the foul. And you say, okay, but according to the rules, let me read it to you. The on-court crew chief may also review the video to determine only any other matters. Like what? Well, was the correct player called for the foul? Yep, we went for Butler. And two, whether a different foul proximate to the called foul should have been called. So that should have been the offensive foul. So that's where I'm a little confused on that. And I hope, again, the last 2 minutes might be able to expound more on that reasoning.
Fair enough. And it also seems like the notion of the ball was loose and they didn't want to then take into consideration the out-of-bounds component of that. It looked like they were only looking at foul, of what he called. And so, yes, head-scratching that they wouldn't have just looked at the offensive call and given it to the Heat. It kind of just, I think incidentally, it goes off of Tatum. So it's like there's two things going in favor of the Heat anyway. So just in order of what fairness should be, I think that the Heat should have gotten it. So, the jump ball, I guess, is a head-scratcher, but it seems like he thought, well, the ball was loose at the time that we blew it. We realized it was not a foul, and then you throw up your hands.
I get that part. I mean, I'm not saying that hasn't happened to any of us going down on a fast break and saying, I think he got him because I'm not really where it should be. I think it's a foul. And then all of a sudden you have a chance to look at some things. Well, we got a whole story in there. We got a great story that, by the way, we're protected by in the rule determination. So I would have liked, very simply, call the offensive foul because that's the proximate play that occurred during this play as well.
Well, Ronnie, thank you so much for breaking it down for us. I appreciate it. And I know we'll be back again at some point with another interesting call from the playoffs.
Yes, another interesting call, and maybe there'll be some more. But it is an exciting playoff. It's very competitive, and the bubble is serving all of us worldwide well for viewing NBA basketball.
One problem with the Heat zone is that the forwards routinely pull themselves out of position to the wing when they don't need to be that high, particularly Tyler Herro. He gets away with it most of the time, but not here, as his responsibility to the corner can't be fulfilled because he crept up to the free throw line extended and Jaylen Brown cuts the lead in half. After 2 free throws, Butler continues his dumb play by reaching in on Kemba and giving him 3 free throws. I don't care if this was as clean as a whistle. You cannot put yourself in a situation where you're anywhere close to a foul and allow the referee to call it. And Butler should know better. On the inbounds, the Heat had tried a variation of this before that made it a little too risky in my opinion, but this time they cleared 2 players to the backcourt and let Jimmy post up Hayward and get the lob. He hits his free throws, and now the Heat have taken an absolutely commanding 3-1 lead. While neither team looked worthy of being in the conference finals for much of this game, someone has got to win this thing, and there is no doubt in my mind it will be the Heat, unless the Celtics figure out how to recreate their fourth quarter zone attack during the rest of the game.